Well, first, it's great having all you people here today. I can't tell you how thrilled we are. This whole thing started a few months ago, and we really didn't know what to expect. And the response has been just absolutely overwhelming. Just real quick, I'm Jim Dehner. Klaus, wave your hand and introduce yourself there real quick.
Yeah, I'm also, like Jim, excited to welcome you all here today. Like Jim said, we've been working on this a couple of weeks already to launch this new user group, and we had so many people signed up for this meeting, and we are now at over 600 people already, and that's really amazing. And I'm really looking forward to lead this group and to work with you together and help you on your Tableau journey.
Okay. Alyssa, you want to give us some ground rules to live by?
Let's do it. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking time out of your morning, afternoon, or evening. It's great to see so many of you guys dial in from all around the world. We always love seeing that. My name is Alyssa. I am a community content and event specialist at Tableau. I've been here a little bit over 2 years. A lot of that time has been spent supporting user groups. I'm really just in the background supporting Jim and Klaus, you are in great hands. They are incredible leaders, incredibly knowledgeable about Tableau, but also really, really passionate about helping you guys, helping others, helping the data fam learn Tableau and get involved in the community. So really excited to see where this group goes and to see you guys all hopefully learn something new after today. And then you'll get to hear a little bit more about them in a couple slides. But I get the pleasure of sharing a couple housekeeping things. So first, this meeting is being recorded. We will share that out in a follow-up email if you RSVP'd or joined this call. We'll also be posting it to our Tableau's YouTube channel, which also has all of our other user group recordings if you are keen to check those out as well. Please use the Q&A feature for any questions that you have for us or for our speakers. We'll be monitoring that, and if there's any that are worth bringing up live, we'll get those answered for you. And then use the chat for any general banter and to just engage with our big audience here today. And then a little pro tip, make sure when you're using chat to select the everyone in the drop down. Sometimes it just goes to us leaders, and we want to make sure everyone is able to see that. Great.
Okay, very good. Now, Alyssa's just being modest. Alyssa's actually the superstar, and she championed this whole idea back in Seattle. We actually started talking about this user group last fall. And the reason we started talking about it is we kind of became aware that as new users, you may not feel comfortable just walking into a normal TUG meeting. I know when I was a new user, when I was a newbie, getting me to go to that first TUG meeting was pretty difficult. And we thought, well, maybe a user group dedicated to new to Tableau users and people who are in that new to intermediate stage, both to Tableau and to the Tableau community, maybe that would be a good idea. And it just took off. And thank you very much for that. The plan is for a meeting every 6 to 8 weeks. And we've already got the next meeting planned. It's going to be March 10th. And you'll be able to sign up for that later in the presentation. But every 6 to 8 weeks, so we'll have about 8 meetings a year. And every meeting will have 2 parts. One part is going to be that, how does that work? And that's where Klaus and I are going to kind of look under the covers. We're going to, we're going to take a look at a Tableau function and or a capability and tell you how Tableau does what it does. Maybe that provides a better understanding. You'll feel more comfortable using Tableau. And then the second feature that will always be there will be a guest speaker from the community. And today we are so pleased to have Sarah Bartlett with us. She's a superstar, and you're going to get to, I hope you really enjoy her. I really like Sarah. She's outstanding. Klaus is driving the bus from Germany, and I'm doing most of the talking from here. Today's agenda, we're going to go through, and first Klaus and I are going to introduce ourselves, give you a little bit about our background, how we came to Tableau, and then we're going to do the how does that work session. And today we're going to talk about connecting data sets. And I don't know about you, but when I was a newbie, coming from an Excel background, the idea of connecting data sets and doing joins and unions, that just totally intimidated me. But Klaus is going to clear that up for us today. And Sarah's going to talk to us about the Tableau community and how you can get involved in some of the opportunities that we've got out there. Then we've got a couple of fun activities. One of them is going to be the escape room that we're going to go out to Tableau Public. And we've got some links there that are going to take you out there. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to have a little contest. And the winner of that contest is going to get a e-learning license for a year. That's a pretty good deal. That's outstanding. And then we're going to actually leave this platform and we're going to go to another platform called Remo. And we'll have links to get you out there also so that we can do some networking, some small group networking. We've got like 670 people out there. It's a little hard to network with 670 people all at once. So we're going to go to a different platform where we can work in smaller groups. Klaus, next slide.
Okay. Good. Meet the team. So we introduced ourselves already briefly, and we thought it could be a good idea to map where we come from. And since we all know Tableau has great mapping capabilities, this is of course a Tableau map. Alyssa is joining from Seattle, Jim from Nashville, Sarah from Reading in the UK, and I'm joining from Münster, Germany, or from a smaller town near Münster, Germany. And we will ask you also today if there is maybe someone among you who is interested in joining us, preparing these meetings. So we are open to extend this leadership group of this TAC. So feel free to reach out, and it would be great if we could extend this map view once we meet again next time and to see who has joined. And by the way, this is very easy to create in Tableau. So I've just created a list with Alyssa, Jim, Sarah, and me, and our longitudes and latitudes from the cities where we live. And there is one connection from me to Alyssa, from Alyssa to Jim, from Jim to Sarah. And with make point and make line, it is very easy to create these nice maps. And we will have one dedicated session for mapping questions in one of the upcoming events. So this is just a really small preview of what is doable with maps in Tableau. Good. Let me introduce myself. So I'm Klaus. I'm 44 years old, and I live with my wife and my two daughters in Münster or near Münster in the western part of Germany. And I have been using Tableau since 2017, July 2017. I can remember it as it was yesterday. And in my day job, I'm a professor at Münster School of Business, and I'm a professor of management accounting. So I've never worked in IT. I have a controlling accounting background, so I teach cost accounting, financial accounting, budgeting to my undergraduate and graduate students. And that's also why I'm so excited to be a part of this initiative, because teaching Tableau to my students or to people who want to learn the tool in general is a major part of what my job is, what my profession is. And therefore I was really, it was no question to join this group, to join Jim and Alyssa, and to prepare these meetings for you. Teaching at university is one part of my life. And with my consultancy, CO Data, I bring together my two passions. So the one for management accounting, controlling, and the other one for data visualization. And we deliver data products, data visualization dashboards to finance and controlling departments all around the world with a very international team. So that's what I also do, and what has been part of my Tableau journey as well. Ever since I've started using the tool, I've been active in the Tableau community. So Sarah will talk about the community later. Whenever I create something not job related, I share it on Tableau Public. So feel free to visit my Tableau Public portfolio. Give me a follow, and I will follow you back for sure. So there you can find lots of visualizations of dashboards that I've created over the years. And I'm also blogging at visjockey.com. There I'm sharing my blogs on mainly technical aspects of how to deal with certain topics in Tableau, how to find creative solutions for innovative problems. Yeah, that's what I do in my blog or on my blog. You can also find me on Twitter and on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect, and it would be great to meet you one day, preferable at conference in person, but for now here online on Zoom. Jim, what about you?
Okay. Hi, I'm Jim Dehner. I live in Nashville, and I have been using Tableau for about 5 years, a little over 5 years. One of my clients came to me and said, look, you're going to learn Tableau. It's just like Excel. You'll have no trouble with it. And we all know that that's just plain not true. And I certainly had my struggles when I started. And since then, I've learned not just a lot about Tableau, but I've become a Zen master. And I know quite a few of you from the forums where I've been a five-time forum ambassador. I too keep a blog. I have just moved my blog. So if you're familiar with my old blog site, please jot this down. All you have to do is go to jimdehner.com and you'll find my new blog site. And it's got all the content from the old blog. And it also includes the Zero to Zen series, which kind of chronicles how I got to Tableau and how I learned the basic things that I had to learn to use before I felt comfortable with Tableau. My blog is dedicated to you. It's dedicated to the newbie and to the intermediate user. I talk about how you do things, but I kind of put it in a language that I understand. I'm an engineer. I'm not a data scientist. So I had to learn in my own language how to use Tableau. You can also see me out there at on Twitter. I keep a site at Market Analytic 5, and that's who I am out there. Some of you I do know because I co-lead the Nashville Tug Group, and we've met you out at that group in person. Next week we have another virtual meeting, but we hope to be going live sometime this year in Nashville. Klaus, I think we can go to the next slide now. Okay, and I've seen people already raise their hand for this. We are looking for a couple of you to join the team. It takes one of these meetings, and we would like to have a couple of people involved, and we really want this to be your meeting. This is your group, it's your meeting, and we need your help and input in deciding what the content's going to be and how we're going to go about conducting these meetings. So if you're interested, please volunteer by putting your name in the chat, and we'll get back to you, and we'll decide if you want to be involved in the group. We're looking for somebody to be active for at least a year. We're not looking for just the next meeting. We're looking for somebody to be active on a regular, ongoing basis. So please just add that to the group. We would also ask you, and we're going to ask you a couple times during this meeting, in the blog or in the chat, just write down the one topic that you'd like to see at a future meeting. And we're going to take those as ideas and where to go. Like I said, this is your group, it's your meeting, and we want to have the content here geared toward what you want to hear and see. Klaus, I think we're ready to move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and since this is the newbie user group, we have to admit we've all started somewhere, and this is the next part we would like to talk about, and therefore Jim and I both have brought our first dashboards. So mine is from July 2017, and Jim, from when is yours?
It was about 2017. It was pretty close to that same time.
Okay, shall we start with mine?
Yes.
Okay, that's my dashboard. What do you think, Jim?
Well, yeah, I see a lot of stuff going on there, Klaus. I'd kind of like to know I happen to know about the Tour de France. I'm not sure everybody does, but why did you pick this topic?
Okay, so it was that time in 2017 when I decided to start learning Tableau, and I looked around for resources for learning, and I came across Makeover Monday. So Makeover Monday is, or I have to say was, a initiative, a community initiative led by two other Zen masters, by Eva Murray and Andy Kriebel. And the idea of Makeover Monday was to have a data visualization each week that needs a makeover. So Eva and Andy provided the data set on this visualization, and I took that data set from the Tour de France, which was about to start at that week, I think, and yeah, tried to come up with something. So like you, I was more like an Excel guy, and just try to figure out a dashboard, and this is what I've created. And I think it lasted 1 day to create this. And when looking at it today, I still like some parts, some others I don't like so much. Like, for example, I still like the top section with the KPIs. So giving something like in general overview, what is in the data set. It was about duration. It was about entrance. It was about how many people finished the Tour de France, dropout rates, number of stages, distance, and so on. And I summed it up or built an average. I'm talking here about minimum values, maximum values, average values. So given an overview, and I still like that. I do that in my business dashboards as well. Maybe not in this design, but the idea is the same, I think. Then I did some kind of analysis, I would say. So the first one here, the scatter plot, is investigating the link between distance and winner's average speed. And not surprisingly, the longer the Tour de France was in the year, the lower the winner's average speed was. And I can see that here, or you can see that here in the scatter plot. I think today I would flip the X and Y axis, because it seems like distance is the independent and average speed is the dependent variable. I think I wouldn't use these maps anymore. So people can get quite excited about custom shapes, and that's what happened with me here too. But beside that, I think the analysis is still okay. Then dropout rates. So I'm investigating within clusters. I don't even remember what these clusters mean. But I'm stating here that dropout rates have decreased constantly since the early years. And what I wouldn't do anymore is to encode this like this, because position here shows the year. So first, it seems like this decreasing is visualized in the chart, but that's actually not the decreasing in the positioning, but it's in the color. So I would do that differently today, I think. And then the third analysis on the bottom left looked at winners, at champions. So how often did they win? Like I know 5 times, and what was the average distance he had to drive? I don't know, and which was the average speed. Yeah, again here speed is on color. I think that does not work so well, and the color palette is also not that good, I think. So I'm still not proud, but it's still on my public profile, and I look back to this. Yeah, so I think we've come a long way since 5 years ago, but it's always good to know where you've started from, and I think I learned 1 or 2 things since then. Okay, Jim, what about your dashboard?
Okay, this is my first dashboard. Actually, it's the 3rd iteration of my first dashboard, and I went to school at Purdue, and that's up in Indiana, and that's in the middle of corn country. My wife and I were driving to Chicago one day, and we went past Lafayette, Indiana, and we looked to the east and the west where the cornfields are, and we could see windmills as far as I could see to the east and as far as I could see to the west. And my immediate reaction was, where did those things come from, and why are they here? I always thought of windmills being like, they should be on the East Coast and the West Coast where it's really windy and, California and that sort of thing. And when I got back from that trip, I went out and I found a site where I could get the location of all the electric windmills that generate electricity in the United States, and I put it on a map. And that was the first iteration. I call that dots on a map, and that's all it was. It didn't tell me anything. It was like, okay, that's fine. Who cares? And I went back and I said, well, what's really important? I want to know how much energy they generated and how much that is of the total amount, because I'd always heard that overall renewable resources represent about 15% of the total energy generated in the United States. And then I started looking, when I found some data, I finally got it together. I was able to put the independent data sources together and create what you see today. I looked at hydro energy, solar energy, and wind generated energy as opposed to all fuels. And I kind of like the way that works. Whole lot of trouble formatting those bands up there and getting them colored properly. It was pretty difficult to do, to be honest with you. The center part of the chart, the area chart, I wanted to show a trend. The idea is it must be growing, so I wanted to see the trend that is growing and which parts are growing. And then the bottom part is just a rank order based on state, because I wanted to look at the state level. Now, over on the left-hand side, you see the map of the United States there, and it's got a little green part on it. That's actually a value picker, and it's used to create a set that drives the rest of the dashboard. So you could come out and Klaus just picked the state of Indiana, where I had been, and you can look at the state or you can look at the region, and you can see how those states rank. I was surprised to find that a whole lot of wind energy is generated in the Midwest. A whole lot of the energy that's generated in the Midwest is from wind power. That just came as a surprise. I see we're getting a little lag here. The Tableau is working a little bit slow this morning, so I'll get off of this. Now, if I were to do this over again and I were to change this around, what I would do is I would make that state picker a whole lot larger, because as you can see, it's kind of difficult to find the individual state, even when you know know where the states are. And I'm not really wild about the color scheme, but I would change that around, and of course I'd update it.
I like that color scheme actually. So I think it's good. What I find quite impressive, Jim, is so you're filtering down the fuel sources and still keep the percentage of total. So that means you have used some table calculation filter, right?
I have done. Yes, as a matter of fact, I've done some table calculations in here. I have also done some calculations based on and varied those calculations based on set, using set actions. I don't know if it's just me, but my screen is breaking up a little bit. I hope everybody's not seeing what I'm seeing. So. Okay,
good. Yeah. Okay, so these are our first dashboards, and again, we've all started somewhere, and no matter if you're a newbie or intermediate or already a Jedi user, I think it's always good to, and that's what Tableau Public is actually for, to just build out a portfolio, and that's what we both did, Jim and I, just keep on creating and practicing, and yeah, hopefully one day you can look back to a 5-year-old first dashboard as well, and have made some progress along the way. Okay, good. Yeah, shall we move on, Jim?
Yeah, Klaus, I'm having a little trouble with my screen, but yes, we definitely should move on at this point.
Okay, can we check with Alyssa? Is this a general problem or?
Everything looks fine on my end, and I think people in the chat are okay as well.
Okay.
Okay, let's keep moving on. I'm only seeing half a screen, so I'm going to try to do some things technically here to get things back in order, but
Okay,
Jim, you can try turning off your video as well. That might help with the lag.
Yeah, what we're, yeah.
Go ahead, Klaus.
Yeah, we want to move on now to the how does that work section, and this is what Jim and I thought would be a good idea for this newbie group to talk about very basic things, and even if you're an intermediate user, might be good at some point to hear about the basic things as well, because sometimes you have just learned to do things in a way that feels good for you, but when you see other people doing the same things, you might think, wow, that's so much more easy to do, like I've just seen it. And therefore we want to cover the basic things you need to know about Tableau. We're leaning a little bit towards the Tableau Desktop Specialist exam. So there are certain topics covered in this exam, and yeah, we want to talk about the most important things that will get you started. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back with you now, so let's.
Perfect.
Let's move right along.
Yeah, regarding connecting data sets, we want to talk a little bit about the landing page, how to establish a connection from the data source page and from the view. We want to talk about connections and data sources. Then there will be a demo part where we talk about modifying data connections. Jim already mentioned unions, joins, relationship is a term you need to know. Cross-database joins. I think we won't cover cross-database joins today since they are very similar to normal joins. And then finally about live connections and extracts. When do you need when do you need a live connection, and how do you create an extract, and when do you need it? Okay, so I have to turn off my my full screen, and we want to start with a landing page, and therefore I have to open a new okay. So this is what you see when you open up Tableau. And we talk today about connecting data sets because this is obviously the thing you start with. You connect to data, and when you open Tableau, you see this view. We have the connection pane here on the left side. We'll talk about that in a minute. And Jim, interrupt me whenever I talk nonsense, and if you think that you have something to add. Then you have your recently opened workbooks. So I'm obviously in the Tableau Newbies Season 1, Episode 1 workbook right now. I've worked on different things in the past days, on parallel coordinates, on other custom visualizations, a lot of the Ken and Kevin Flerlech stuff. Then you have some sample workbooks here in the bottom part, and the Discover area here on the right side with links to resources, to training courses, and stuff like this. So then connecting to data. We have basically 3 ways to connect to data. The first one, you can connect to a Tableau server. So if you have a Tableau server in your organization, then probably there will be data sources on your Tableau server as well. You can connect to. I won't do that now, but just hit the Tableau server, and then you will see a list of data sources on the server, and you can search for a certain data source and then connect or do a live connection to the published data source. Then we have connections to a file. So we will connect to an Excel file in a minute. So I won't do that now. You can connect to text files like CSV, JSON, PDF, spatial files, and more is, for example, also a Tableau extract if you want to connect to that. Then we have databases or server with lots of pre-built connectors. So it seems like they're at 60 right now. So 60 pre-built connectors. You can connect to whatever cloud service or database you use. There are connectors for SAP or Salesforce and other additional connectors here at the bottom part. And basically it's pretty straightforward. So I've got a local Postgres database, for example, running. You just type in the IP of your server, the port, the database, the username, and then you sign in, and you get your tables from this connection here on the left side, and you can just drag on the tables and use them in the visualization. So this way we connect to a server, and then let me close this data source again and go back. And the fourth one is the save data source, and this can actually be a great time saver. So I'm using the sample superstore, for example, quite frequently. And you can save a data source to this section by here when you open a connection and then save this data source, add to save data sources. Yeah, then you can save your favorite data source in this part of the connection pane. Okay, so that's the landing page, I think. Jim, do you want to add something?
Well, let's go ahead to how the different types of connections work, because I think that's where most people, or at least most people, newbies coming to the group, are faced with. Well, I don't understand the difference between a join and a union, and I don't understand relationships. How do all these things work, and when would I use one versus another one?
Yeah, perfect. So let's do that. Let me first switch back to our presentation, because this is what we've prepared beforehand, and I will walk you through an example where we start with a pretty basic table. And then use a union to add rows to this table. So a union will make the table taller. Then we will do a join to add further columns to this table. And we will also do a join and a union. So we will make the table taller and wider.
Klaus, one of the things that I was faced with as a newbie, and I see it all the time with questions coming in from the forum. People say, well, how do I do a VLOOKUP? They're used to an Excel command. They say, I want to do a VLOOKUP. And a VLOOKUP, as you just pointed out, is just like joining columns to your table. It's extending the width of your table. So that's done with a join. Yeah. Okay. And extending the height of your table is done with a union, and that's like an append. It's like I'm adding more data to my table. I'm sorry.
No. Perfect.
Go ahead.
Okay, so maybe 2 words to keep in mind when we talk about unions and joins. We are on the physical layer. So we manipulate, we modify a table by adding rows or adding columns. Later on, we will talk about relationships. We won't talk about blends today because relationship is much more convenient to use. And then we are not on the physical, but on the logical layer. Okay, so the example we're going through. We have a pretty basic table, and this table includes subcategories. So we are using Superstore data, and this table includes the subcategory sales and profits. And in this case, for 1 month, for July, and July is part of Q3. And to look into this table, so I'm connected to a Excel file, and this Excel file keeps or holds the tables I'm going to use in this example. So we are connected now to the Superstore July table. And in this preview, you can see what I just showed you in the view. We have the subcategories, we have the year, the month, the quarter, the profit and sales. And we have here also this kind of overview of the fields. We can change field data types if needed. We can rename fields. So do already some kind of changing metadata. Again, first thing we want to do is a union because like you can see here in the data source page, there are other tables that include the sales for August and for September. And there are different ways of creating a union. I think maybe the easiest one is to just drag and drop the second table and let it drop here right below the first table until this little union field appears. Let it drop. And the same thing with September, let it drop on union. And you see we have now 51 rows. So we have 17 subcategories times 3, and our table has become taller. With unions, the variables have to match. Otherwise, something like this would happen. So it seems like in one table, it wasn't the sales were named or labeled revenue, and the other sales. And therefore, we get nulls for revenue in case we have the sales, and nulls for revenue in case we have the revenue. And easy thing to do is to merge this mismatched fields because they are the same, and just rename it, and we're good. Yeah, so this the union, we can now just drag on subcategory again, maybe show the quarter and the profit and the sales. Yeah, that's the union. Second one we want to talk about is the join. Yeah, join adds columns to your table. And for the join, I have again my for the join, we now need to go to the physical layer. When you're at this stage, then we are on the logical layer, and to get to the physical layer, we have to double click on the logical layer. And I've already joined the table here. I want to show it to you. So to join, double click into the logical layer, and then take a second table to combine those two. And to do a join, we need two things. First, we need a key. In this case, the key is the subcategory because I want to add the categories to my subcategories. And the second thing you need to do is to define the join type. Yeah? By default, it is the inner join. An inner join only keeps the records that has matches on both sides. The left join would keep all records from the left side and add matches from the right side, and so on and so on. Now, this way, we create a join. And when we have the join, we can now use this column from the second table together with the data from the first table So again, we can have the subcategory profit and sales, and now with the additional context information of the category the subcategories belong to. Okay, good. Then obviously we can combine joins and unions. So again, we need to go to the physical layer. In this case, we already have the union. Yeah, so we can edit the union, and you will see that there are these three tables in it: the August sales, the July, and the September sales. And we can now again do the join on this union table to have again the same key and the same join type, and then have a union and a join.
I had this very question like 2 days ago out on the forum where someone was asking, can you do this? You know, how can I take something that I've unioned together and then join another file to it? And they said they were going to be out there listening today, and I hope they're in the audience, because this is how it's done.
Yeah. Okay, so these are, again, going back to our presentation, this is what we have done so far. We have taken our table, we have unioned other tables, and we have joined further columns, in this case, the category, and yeah, therefore modified our table. Now the next thing, and we want to talk about, is a very, I think, common challenge in the corporate world. So we have now our sales and profit for the third quarter for our subcategories, and we want to compare it to a budget. And the budget is on category level. So we have furniture, office supplies, and technology. And this is the budget we have. So 70,000, 80,000, 90,000 for sales, and 5, 10, and 15,000 for the profit. And this is the actual data coming from our unioned and joined table. Yeah, so when we sum up the sales from all 3 months and the profits, we are at 66,000 for furniture, for 84,000, and so on and so on. So what we could do now, in this example, we could take our budget and join it to this already unioned and joined data tables. Yeah. So take the budget and then define the key, and the key is the category, and the category on this side. I think we can also add the year and the year, just to add more join clauses, and the quarter and the quarter. Yeah, so this way we combine the budget to our data, and when we look into the preview here, you will probably already get an idea of what is happening here. So the sales data was on subcategory level, the budget data is on category level. And that's why we see we have duplicated data here. So the budget for office supplies, for example, is already in the first 4 lines 3 times, and so on and so on. And that will result when we now add the joint budget data to this table into quite high numbers. And this cannot be right, obviously. Yeah, because of the data duplication, we have the budget several times in our new table. In this case, easy thing to fix it is to use the average instead of the sum for the budget data. And then you remember it from the first table, the numbers are correct again. This is the challenge you have when you join tables of different granularity. the budget data was based on category level, the actual data on subcategory level, and that's why we had this data duplication. Another way to do this is to use the relationship feature. So when we go back to the data source, I will now build a relation between those two tables. And when you build a relation, you will see these noodles. Yeah. So joins are created on the physical layer. Here we are on the logical layer. And by just dropping the table, we can define a relationship between the two tables. And this is again category. On this side, we can add more. Let's say also take the quarter, and that should be enough for this example. And the difference between a join and the relationship is that each table stays as it is. So we don't create a new join table, but we have the budget table in this view and the joint and union table from the other table. And when we then create our view, we can just, where's the budget data? There it is. We can just add this to our view, and we don't have to care about this data duplication thing anymore. The data is just shown correctly.
This is really we get a question on this very topic at least 3-4 times a week, where people are trying to blend data or they're trying to join data, and I'm going to call it the new relationship model. The relationship model has been around for about a year, but people aren't comfortable using this yet. So my recommendation to you, to everybody out there, is take a data set and practice it. Do exactly what Klaus has done, and do it a couple times and see for yourself what it does, because it really makes life easier for us. Yeah, absolutely. And I tend to use blends before the relationship model was a thing, and I've never made good experiences with blends. And I think the relationship model is a way smarter way of combining these tables. And I would also recommend to use it and to practice it to combine the information. Okay, well, we've got to get over to Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Wait a second, I have to sort my. Yeah. Sarah's been very patient. She's been busy though. She's been out in the chat. I can see her out there. Okay.
I'm here, Jim.
Good.
I've been joining your presentation and following along.
Oh, you've been busy. Sarah is Sarah's one of my favorite people, and there's a lot of favorite people at Tableau and in the community. But Sarah's one of my favorite people. If you don't know her, if you don't follow her, please go on out and meet Sarah at Sarah Loves Data, and that's also which her blog is titled, so you can find Sarah Loves Data out there really rather easily. She is a Zen master. She's a 2-time Zen master. She's a public ambassador, and she's a superstar spokesman for the community, and that's what she's going to talk about today. Sarah, I'm going to let you go now.
Thank you so much, Jim. So I'm actually going to turn my camera off because I'm presenting on a different screen, but just let me share my screen with you. Just make sure that's loading up okay. Let me know if you can see it. Yep, great, thank you. So today I'm going to be talking about the Tableau community and just getting everyone onboarded and helping you understand what the community is all about. And I've seen a lot of questions in the chat around how do I do this, how do I do that? Hopefully I'll cover all those questions in my talk today. First of all, I want to say thank you to Jim and Klaus for inviting me to talk at the Newbies Tug. I'm super excited for this tug, and I'm really excited and honoured to be able to speak at your first event. But let me just go through. So Jim, thank you so much for the introduction. I think you've covered half of what's on this slide already. But just for some background context, I work as a Tableau Enablement Consultant at Red Hat, and I joined the community back in 2016. Now, I actually started using Tableau about 18 months before I discovered the community, and I was using Tableau in isolation, didn't really know what I was doing, really struggling, and then thankfully stumbled across the community in 2016. My journey is a little bit similar to Klaus, and I think we joined the community around a similar time. So we both discovered Makeover Monday when it just started out. I think that was in 2016, and then started participating, and that's how I met Klaus. And the fun story that Klaus didn't cover, and he knows what I'm going to say, but we actually both participated in IronVis Europe in 2018, and he beat me, but we're still friends, so it's all good. But then I was inspired by that experience to create the IronQuest project. So some of you may be aware of that. I'm not going to go into IronQuest today, but it's just a project that helps you prepare for the IronVis competition, which is currently taking place. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. But in addition to that, I'm also a 2-time Tableau Zen Master. I'm a 4-time Tableau ambassador. So I was a social ambassador. I'm now a public ambassador. And I'm also the co-leader of the London Tableau User Group. So if you are based in London, definitely check us out. And I included this picture because I saw that we were holding the Tableau community like balloon thing. So I thought that was really appropriate for this talk. Before I go any further, you may be thinking, you know, I've never heard of this community, or what is this community all about? So let's go right back to the basics and talk about what is the Tableau community. So if you were to think about what the community looks like, this is essentially what the community looks like now. This picture was taken back in 2019, so pre-COVID. Don't worry, we're not doing any kind of meetups like that at the moment, but this was taken in Las Vegas. And at the conference every year, Tableau would, when it was in person, Tableau would get everyone together for a big Datafam community picture. And now I think if we tried to do this today, we wouldn't all fit in the same screen. The community has just grown so much, it's ever growing. But it's always, you know, nice to be able to do these things. And I look forward to days when we can actually get back together again. But to go into more detail about what the community is, I actually stole this from Mark Bradbourne, who runs the Sons of Hierarchies.com blog and actually works at Tableau now, but was a community member before he joined. But essentially, the community is a global collective of Tableau users and employees who are passionate about data visualization, analytics, and storytelling. And the key part is that we all want to teach, learn, and explore the world of data with each other. So it's at the core of the community, it's all about learning and teaching each other and supporting each other and just helping share those experiences together. I think everyone in the community would agree that it's all about helping each other be better. So you may initially engage to help improve your own skills, but then eventually I think everyone then starts to give back and help other people too. And so I thought that was a really nice way of putting it. Now, if you were to ask the community, you know, to describe the community in one word, which Tableau often do through things like social media, these are the kind of words that come to mind. And this is actually taken from a video that I want to show at the end of my talk from some real life community people that talk about, you know, what the community means to them. But the one word that comes up quite a lot when you ask people this question is family. And people go as far as to saying that, you know, the community feels like a family. And I would 100% agree with that. So since I've got involved in the community, I've found lots of new friends from across the globe. And it's been really a really nice experience. The community is also inspiring, it's challenging, it's selfless, it's diverse, it's all of these great things. And so I highly encourage you to get involved and experience it for yourself. So that leads nicely to my next part, which is, why should I get involved? You know, maybe you think, I do enough Tableau at work, why do I want to do this thing outside of work? Or, you know, I haven't maybe got enough time to participate in the community. So hopefully I can change your mind and encourage you to take part. So just at the weekend, I sent out a tweet on Twitter to ask people, you know, how did they find the community and what was their driver for getting involved? And I got about 25 responses, too many to include on one slide, but I took some of my favorite ones and added them here so you can see different people's perspectives on, you know, how they found the community and why they decided to join. So there's a lot of common themes here. So there's a lot of people just like Klaus and I, that got involved by participating in Makeover Monday. And we'll go through the community projects later, but some of the drivers, like for Brandon, for instance, to get involved were that they've been using Tableau for some time, but they didn't feel like that their work had that zing. It didn't look good, and they were struggling to make the dashboards look good. So they got involved in Makeover Monday to improve their design skills. And you see that as quite a common thread, like people build dashboards for work, but they don't have the ability or the opportunity to be more creative and try new things with them. A couple of people mentioned they discovered the community through Tableau conference, either in person or virtually. They came across people that were talking about the community, or the Datafam, as we like to be known. And some people mentioned that the community is very active on Twitter, and I'll go into that later. And they got involved by just joining Twitter and seeing all the activity that was going on there. Others mentioned they found the community through their local Tableau user group. So just like this one, there's some local tugs in different cities around the world. I think there's over 500 tugs in total, and some people connected to the community that way. Jessica found the community through Facebook, and then got involved in watching a VisConnect session, which is very similar to a tug, and she got involved that way. And other people just found out through colleagues or word of mouth. You know, people mentioned this thing called a Tableau community, and they got involved just to elevate their skills and be more connected. So it's a common theme there, I think, and it was really lovely seeing all these messages and seeing people describe how the community's benefited them. So in my perspective, there's plenty of benefits of getting involved. And number one would be learning opportunities. And when I say learning opportunities, it's not just Tableau. You might think, well, you know, what else am I going to learn by participating in a community all about Tableau? Well, there's actually lots of things. So not only will you learn Tableau and you'll be able to improve your Tableau skills, you'll also be able to learn some complementary technical skills. So whether that be data prep, Alteryx, Python, Mapbox, all of these things that kind of work with data in slightly different ways, you can absolutely learn those skills by participating in the Tableau community. But in addition to that, you also learn other skills like the ability to be a better public speaker, to network with people. Maybe you could improve your writing skills through writing a blog. Perhaps you could learn how to do video production by setting up your own YouTube channel. There's all of these things that you can learn through participating in the Tableau community, and it's not just Tableau. Another reason to get involved is for inspiration. So if you're using Tableau at work and maybe you're limited to looking at just the visualizations that you produce for your job, you may be lacking inspiration. You might be looking at the same dashboards every day and not very inspiring. One thing that you could do is have a look at Tableau Public. So every day, thousands of visualizations get published to Tableau Public on all different types of topics. And a lot of people go on there and publish business style dashboards. So if you're looking for some inspiration for some like work to do in Tableau, you could always go on there. And that's where I always go if I'm building a new dashboard and I'm kind of out of inspiration. I go on there and have a look at what other people are doing. It's just a great thing to look at. Good reason for getting involved is to get support and feedback on your work. So perhaps you're struggling with how to do something in Tableau. I've seen a lot of people post in the chat today that they've got a particular question and they just don't know how to approach something. The community is definitely the place to get feedback and support. A great way of doing that is through the community forums, and I'll tell you all about that shortly. But you can also get feedback on your visualizations as well. So maybe if you're sharing things to Tableau Public and then sharing them on social media, you can always ask people for feedback, and you'll find the community is very willing to give you that feedback as well. And I found when I first got involved, that was something that really helped me elevate my work as well. And not only that, it helped me connect with people. And that's my next bullet point. You'll find people in the community that are like you. There's a space for everyone, whether that be people from the same region or country as you, or people that have the same interests as you. Those people are out there, and you will find them by participating in the community. Getting involved in Tableau is a great way to grow your data viz portfolio. So if you use Tableau Public, it's a place where you can go and publish all of your visualizations. And it's a great way to build that portfolio out. So maybe if you're going for a new job, you can actually prove that you know Tableau, and you can show people that you've actually done this work and built these visualizations. And that's so rare these days, because so much of what we do at work is limited to our work and we can't share it outside of work. But the great thing about Tableau Public means it's all on open data that's available to anyone, and it means you can share your work externally. Another reason to get involved is to build your professional network. So just by participating in the community, you'll meet people from all different companies, from all different positions in the company. You'll meet senior leaders as well, and you'll be able to grow your network and understand better which companies are using Tableau, and perhaps even network with some of these leaders as well. So again, if you're looking to elevate your career, it's a great way to build those connections and help grow your professional network. And then my last point there is just to gain a sense of belonging. So I mentioned before that when I started using Tableau, I was the only person using it in my company. I didn't really have anyone to turn to support me with my Tableau journey. And I think the community really helps fill that void, and it gives you a sense of belonging to something bigger. And particularly in the last couple of years when everything's been virtual, it's been really nice to have the community there as just to hold everything together and know you've always got a network of people to support you. Okay, so moving on, my next point is participation is key. So I've said all these things and the benefits of getting involved, but to really experience the community to its full potential, you need to actively participate, not just watch from the sidelines. And this is really important. So when I first joined Twitter, and I joined Twitter primarily just to follow the community, I was literally just watching from the sidelines. I was watching people publish visualizations and share them on social media and do all these really cool things. And I was just looking at them thinking, oh, wow, you know, their work's amazing. I could never do this. And I didn't get the full benefit of the community until I actively started engaging. So until I've actively started publishing my own visualizations or talking to people, it was only then that I actually got the real benefit of the community. I think there's so many people out there that do just watch from the sidelines and they're afraid to make that first move, but I would encourage you to do so. Like you'll get so much more benefit once you start taking part and not just watching what other people are doing. Okay, so now you may be wondering, you know, how can I get involved? I'm sold. So plenty of ways to get involved, and again, there's something for everyone. So I'm going to start with community projects. Now, just a quick note about these slides. I've included a QR code on each slide, which takes you out to somewhere relevant. So for the community projects, it will take you to the Tableau Community website, which includes links out to all of the community projects. And you can see the URL is on the slide as well. But community projects are often a way that when people first engage with the community, it's often via community project. When I first joined the community, there weren't any community projects, but now the case is very different. I think there's over 20 at last count, and I've tried to include like the logos of all of them on this slide. But community projects are a way for you to practice and use Tableau and help build out your portfolio, like I mentioned. All of the projects are different and they all follow different kind of formats. You have projects that are run on a weekly basis, for instance, like Workout Wednesday, and you also have projects that work over a longer time period, like Iron Quest is a monthly project, for instance. There's projects like Workout Wednesday, which are more focused on building out technical skills. So with Workout Wednesday, they'll provide a completed visualization and you'll be tasked with rebuilding it without looking at the actual workbook and how it was built behind the scenes. So they might give you some requirements that you need to do X, Y, and Z, but it's up to you to actually try and figure out how to do that without looking at the answers, should I say. So it's a really good way to learn techniques that you might not be aware of, or just to improve your skills. Like they focus a lot on things like calculations and table calculations and things like that. So it's a really good way to learn those skills, which you can then apply to different work. I think most of the other community projects are more focused on just practice and also elevating your design skills or just practicing what you love. So there's projects that are more focused on particular subject matters. So there's Project Health Viz, which is a monthly project which focuses on visualizing health data. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out. With some of these projects, the data sets are provided, and with other projects, it's up to you to find your own data. So there's a balance there. So it depends what you're most comfortable with. Like I said, there's something for everyone. There's Sports Biz Sunday, which is a project where obviously focus on sports. Every month they provide a data set where you can go and visualize something. It will be about a particular sport. but you can also share other sports quizzes. So if you've built a sports quiz on something that's not related to that data set, that's absolutely fine. And you can share that on social media using the hashtag SportsQuizSunday. And every Sunday they do a roundup of all the visualizations they've seen in a nice blog post. So that's a great way of getting involved if sports is something you're passionate about. There's Diversity in Data, which is a project focused on diversity and inclusion. And for that one, they provide data sets, usually more than one, and you have about a month to go and visualize those. IronQuest, I mentioned, is a monthly project. And with that one, I share a theme, but we don't share data sets. So it's up to you to find a data set that fits the theme, just like you would for an IronVis feeder. And you can kind of shape the theme as you so wish. And if you're interested in giving back, and just helping do some social good, there's Viz for Social Good, which is a project which focuses on working with non-profits and charitable organizations to help them with a data visualization need. So they run projects. It's not always like monthly, but there's one that's just launched right now helping a charity in Nepal. So definitely check that out if there's something you're interested in. And there's two projects that launched recently. So there's Data Plus Music, which is run by Sean Miller, which is all about visualizing music data. And then there's Games Night Viz, which is a project focusing on visualizing video game data. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check that out. Now, we've mentioned a lot about Makeover Monday. Makeover Monday was a project that ran on a weekly basis for a couple of years. There's over 300 Makeover Monday data sets available via their website, but Makeover Monday is currently on hiatus, so they're not releasing new data sets every week anymore. But if you do want to go and look at some of the data sets and challenge yourself to visualize them, they're all on the website, so definitely go ahead. And again, don't be afraid to share your work with those hashtags again. And just one final one, Prepping Data is a project, which is a weekly project, which is all based on, you've guessed it, prepping data. So it was initially designed for Tableau Prep, but a lot of people attempt those challenges using other tools. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check that out. And I think they launch the new projects every Tuesday. So once you've got involved in community projects, you're going to want somewhere to publish your work, and that place would be Tableau Public. So Tableau Public is like a free open source version of Tableau. You can go on there, you can set up a profile really easily. As I said, it's 100% free, and it gives you a place to save your work. So once you've finished building a visualization, you can publish your work to Tableau Public. And from there, you can build out a nice portfolio of work. Every day, Tableau runs something called Viz of the Day, which is where they highlight a particular visualization that's maybe it's excelling on good practices, or it's focusing on a particular topic that's quite relevant. But they'll share that visualization through both email if you sign up to the subscription for Viz of the Day. You also see it featured on the Discover pane on Tableau Public as well. And it's just a nice way of seeing what people are doing and all the great work that's out there. This visualization that you see here on the screen is by Will Sutton, and he actually visualized all of the Viz of the Days, I think, for since 2012 to 2021. But I thought this was a really nice intro to the topic of Tableau Public, and just to show you what can be done in Tableau as well. As I said, with Tableau Public, you do get a portfolio and a page where you can share all of your work. So this is a screenshot of the top of mine. The great thing about Tableau Public is it's almost like a social platform. So you can follow different authors. So you can have a look and perhaps see authors that are doing work, and then you can follow them. So then you'll be able to see their work as they publish new vizzes. You can also favorite vizzes. So if you see anything you like and you kind of want to bookmark it to go back to later, you can do that with the favorite kind of star icon. You can also link out to your social platforms or any blogs that you have through Public if you wish. And most recently, they launched a Hire Me button. So if you are looking for work, perhaps as a freelancer, or you're just looking for a new job using Tableau, you can actually add that Hire Me button, really easily to your portfolio. So if people see your work and they like your work and they want to hire you, they can just click that button and they'll be able to email you and talk about job opportunities. So hopefully, if you haven't got a Tableau Public portfolio, please go and set one up. It's really easy, and I promise you won't regret it. And I wanted to include this, and it's something that I saw from Chris Love. So Chris Love is a Tableau Zen master. And it's a flow chart that asks you, should I publish my viz on Tableau Public? Because I hear a lot of people that are quite hesitant about publishing their work. I was one of those people when I first started out. I was really worried that my work would be judged, or someone would tell me I did it wrong, or I was fearing this imaginary like backlash, and it's all a load of rubbish. I mean, nothing but good things has happened from me publishing work on Tableau Public, and essentially all routes lead to go make a viz with this flowchart, because really that's what you should do. So it doesn't matter if you don't have any data visualization experience. It doesn't matter if you started using Tableau today. Doesn't matter if you don't know anyone in the community, and it definitely doesn't matter if you haven't published a viz before. Just go ahead and build that visualization and publish it. Don't be afraid of anything. It's really, really, really worth your while. I mentioned social media a lot, so I just want to cover this quickly, but you'll find that the community is particularly active on Twitter. So if you want to kind of, well, a lot of people, and I know I personally did this, but I created a Twitter account back in 2016, I think, specifically for Twitter, sorry, specifically for Tableau. I had another Twitter account that I don't really use anymore, but I created one just for Tableau and data viz stuff, and I haven't regretted that decision. So all of my Tableau kind of stuff lives on that Twitter account, and it's been a great way for me to connect with people. I truly don't think I would be where I am today if it wasn't for Twitter, because it's just enabled me to connect with the community. Now, if you do decide to go on Twitter and start using it for Tableau, I would suggest looking for the hashtags Datafam and Tableau, and they should give you a good kind of start, or those hashtags should lead you to people that are talking about Tableau and are sharing their work, and it'll be a good way for you to connect with other authors. You can obviously follow me, so Sarah Loves Data, and you can have a look at some of the people that I follow or who I engage with, and that would be a good way for you to kind of find out who's tweeting about Tableau as well. I know Twitter sometimes gets a bad rep about people, not being very nice, but you literally won't see that in the Tableau community. I think if there's any like bad apples out there, they'll quickly be pushed out. The Tableau community won't allow for that. There's also the community on LinkedIn as well. So obviously it's more of a professional network, but there is a lot of activity that goes on that's Tableau related on LinkedIn. And again, you can use those same hashtags to see who's posting any content about Tableau on there. Once you're connected, you're probably going to want to try and have a look at the content that the community is putting out, and you'll likely see a lot of this through the social media platforms. But a lot of people in the community like to write blogs. Some people have YouTube channels, and a couple of people have podcasts as well. So these are great places for you to go and learn both more technical skills and also just more things about the community as a whole, or maybe someone's experience with particular different things. So, I mean, I've got some screenshots here. So we've got Tableau Tim, who's doing the free Tableau tutorials. I highly recommend checking out Tableau Tim's channel on YouTube. You've also got SQL Bell. So she's doing Tableau training. Again, highly recommend checking out her videos. One of my favorite blogs is by the Flurlage twins, so Kevin and Ken Flurlage, who are identical twin brothers who are also Tableau Zen Masters, and they have an amazing blog. Loads of tutorials on there, all kinds of different Tableau related things. There's also the podcast Data Plus Love, which is run by Zach Bowders, which offers kind of conversations with different community members that can be really insightful. And every Friday, Tableau run a Datafam Roundup, which is a blog post which is shared out on social media on a Friday. I'm not going to say what, because it's going to be different depending on where you are in the world, but that includes different links to blog posts or videos or different visualizations that have been published that week. So it's a good way of just keeping track of what the community's been doing, and you'll find some great content in those blog posts every week. Now, there are hundreds and hundreds of blogs out there, but I did want to include some in this presentation to give you kind of a starting point. So these are some of my favorite blogs, and inevitably I've missed somebody. So if you don't see your blog here, don't be offended, please. I ran out of space. There's also YouTube channels listed here as well, where there are active people in the community publishing stuff on YouTube. I will be sharing these slides after I finish this presentation, so you can go away and click through these links yourself. But I highly recommend checking out some of these blogs. They all cover different things, different tutorials. It's mainly tutorials that I've included here, but they also include conversations with community members, tips and tricks on how to get involved with the community, maybe all different things like that. So regardless of what you're into, there'll be something here for you. I've mentioned the community forums a couple of times, and I know Jim mentioned this because this was Jim's kind of entry point into the community, but the community forums are a great way for you to actually go and ask questions to the community. So maybe you've got a question of how to approach something in Tableau and you don't have anyone to ask, and maybe you're posting these questions on social media and no one's coming back to you. The place you want to go and ask those questions is the community forums. So it's essentially where you can go, as I say, and ask questions about anything Tableau related, whether that be desktop or server or absolutely anything. And there's a whole community of people out there that will can help answer those questions for you. You can also go and answer the questions on the community forums as well. And I think Jim mentioned to me earlier that that was a way that he used to actually learn Tableau. So he was looking at people posting their real life Tableau challenges and then looking at the responses that they got to the solutions to those problems and using that as a learning opportunity. And that is a really, really great way to learn real practical hands-on Tableau like tips. You can also go on the forums. Yeah, jump in, Jim.
Sarah, that's absolutely right. That's was one of my primary sources on ways to learn Tableau. But please come out, post your question, and please include a workbook. We're really not being nasty when we ask for that, but it helps us so much in getting you the answer that you need. Back to you, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually have a blog post, Jim, which is all about how to get involved on the Tableau community forums. So if you go on my blog and check that out, it will give you kind of a list of things that you should do to ask a question effectively. So there's certain things like a workbook you should include to improve your chances of actually getting a response. But Jim is super active on the forums. Jim, there's a leaderboard on the forums, and I think, Jim, you're at the top of that leaderboard. If not the top, you're very near the top.
Yeah, I'm at the top of the leaderboard. Been there.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah, you get points if you answer questions on the forums. And if you go on there and ask a question, I would say there's a high chance that Jim might go along and answer it. So you'll probably find Jim there very quickly. You can also go to the forums to post ideas about the product. So maybe there's something that you really wish Tableau could do. You can go and actually post an idea or see if anyone else has posted that idea already and upvote it. And those ideas, they get reviewed by the Tableau developers, and quite frequently some of those ideas get taken forward and put into the product itself. So definitely check out the forums. The last way of getting involved I've got listed here, I think, is the Tableau user groups. So well done everyone on coming along today. This is a Tableau user group, so you've attended your first user group already if you're just getting involved. But Tableau user groups operate, well, pre-COVID, you had Tableau user groups that met in person at different locations around the world. Obviously, since we've become more virtual, pretty much all of the Tableau user groups have gone virtual. And that's great because it means that you can attend user groups regardless of where you are all around the world without leaving the comfort of your own home. So if you're interested in finding out what user groups are out there, you can go to usergroups.tableau.com. And you can search by location, but there are some user groups as well that are either special interest or they're just global kind of virtual user groups that are run. So user groups like the Analytics Tug are really popular. So they meet quite frequently, I think once a month, to talk about all things analytics. So there'll be lots of talks at those tugs about how to approach different things in Tableau, and you'll learn a lot from attending those. But at the more regional tugs, they generally have guest speakers, so you might come across people that do a lot of blogging or visualizations, and they'll be sharing tips and tricks and different things about how to get involved in Tableau and improve your skills. Tableau user groups are a great way to meet new people, especially if you're interested in meeting people that are local to you as well. But they are truly a great way of getting involved. So I definitely recommend checking that out and trying to attend some user groups in the near future. So my top tips for getting involved in the community are, don't try and participate in everything. So I recognize I've shared a lot of things today. I've told you about projects, the forums, like all these great things. But if you go and try and participate in everything, you'll quickly fail and you'll feel disheartened. So I know it's tempting, I know it's exciting, but just try and pick a few things that you think that will be most beneficial, or things that you'll be most interested in participating in, and do those. Don't try and do everything all at once. You could set yourself mini goals. So maybe you want to participate in one weekly project and then a monthly project in 1 month. And that will be perfectly fine. No one's expecting you to go and participate in every single community project that is out there. I've tried doing this, quickly failed, and I don't recommend it. I would say definitely challenge yourself to experiment with new techniques and apply what you learn. So you may read a lot of things through blog posts or see people publish YouTube videos about different techniques. I would say as soon as you've read a blog post or seen someone do that, try and apply that in your own work. So you could use the community projects for that. So you could actually go and find a data set for a community project and try and apply that new technique. So perhaps you learned how to build a new chart. So you could try and build that chart if you found a data set that would work with that kind of chart type. A big thing I'm passionate about is viz what you love. So I know when I used to participate in Makeover Monday, there was often data sets I had zero interest in. So things like baseball. I know nothing about baseball, but I often visualize baseball data because that just so happened to be a data set. And I can tell you now, it's a lot more fun if you visualize data that you're actually passionate about and interested in than data that you don't really have any interest in whatsoever. So try and find data on things that you're interested in, whether that be like your favorite TV show, your favorite movie, maybe your favorite band or artist, whatever that is. Try and find some data on that topic and visualize it. And if you can't find anything, you could visualize data on yourself. So there's a lot of people out there that do quantified self visits. So visits on things like their Fitbit data, their sleep data. Maybe they just track how many books they've read and how many pages were in those books. You can pretty much visualize anything. So if you can't find the data, just make your own data set. Again, I said it before, but don't be afraid to share your work. Nobody's going to tell you it's wrong. It's fine. You'll get a lot of support and people will praise you for sharing your work. And if you are brand new, please do share your work and tell everyone, this is my first viz. You'll get a lot of people welcoming you to the community that way. I would say your voice is unique, so share it. So often I hear people say things like, oh, this has been done before, or somebody's blogged about this before, it means I can't talk about it. That's absolutely not the case. Your voice is unique. The way you describe things will be different to how other people have described them. So don't be afraid of doing something that someone else has attempted before. But all I would say is if someone inspired you, just let them know. Don't steal anything from other people. And if you want to copy someone's technique and a visualization, go ahead, but just let them know, give them some accreditation. You can do that on Tableau Public. There's a feature that lets you do that when you publish, or just include their name at the bottom of the viz to say this was inspired by a particular author. But number one tip is don't be afraid to ask for help. The community is truly here to help you. We want to see you succeed. So before I leave today, I want to set you a challenge. So I would love it if you could just take that first step. So if you're brand new to the community, I want to challenge you to do at least one thing before the end of January to get more engaged. And I don't mean spend hours and hours building a visualization or anything like that, but just something small. So it could be that you go away after this meeting and create a Tableau Public account and publish a viz. If you've got a viz, if you don't publish a viz, that's fine. But just take that one step. So maybe join Twitter. You could perhaps, if you've got a viz or you want to build a viz, share it on social media and introduce yourself and say, I'm new, this is my first viz. That's absolutely fine. You could maybe sign up to attend another tug. So you could go to the website that I shared with you and find another tug to attend. You could perhaps participate in a community project if you wish and share your work through social media. You could ask a question or answer a question on the community forums. If you try and answer a question, I'm sure Jim will be really happy because there'll be nothing left for him to answer. But that's definitely something you could do. But if you are stuck with something, definitely go ahead and ask your question on the community forums. You'll see people really do want to help you there. And maybe if you do watch a blog or YouTube video, try and just go ahead and challenge yourself to try that new technique using some data that you found through maybe a community project. But these are all simple little steps that I guarantee will help you get involved. And hopefully, once you get that bug and you can see the benefit of the community, you'll do more and more of these things. So that's it from me. So I would say now is a perfect time to start. Don't start next week. Don't start next month because you've forgotten all about everything I've covered today. But just do something now. It can be really small, but just go ahead and do it. And that is it from me. So if you do want to reach out to me after this talk, if you want to, tell me about your first viz, please do. You can find me pretty much everywhere as Sarah Loves Data. So my blog, sarahlovesdata.co.uk, or on Twitter as well. And before I go as well, I have a video that I'd like to share, which is about 2 minutes long, and it's about all people talking about the community. So Jim and Klaus, I know you've got the video ready. Maybe you could share it.
So I can share it. Just a second.
I don't know other community that is so extending, so sharing, so caring than Tableau.
It was amazing to find out that there are so many people all over the world that have the same passions as I do.
I just kind of really fell in love with the community, the support around it.
The one word that I would use to describe the Tableau community is family.
Selfless.
Inspiring.
Passionate.
Accessible.
Friend.
Diverse. Inclusive.
Challenging. Sharing.
Amazing.
It's the place where you go to find inspiration. You got your Jonathan Drummies.
Rosario Gaona, that is excellent Tableau Zen master. She has a blog in 2 languages, in English and Spanish.
Kevin Flerlich, his Lorax dashboard and an arachnophobia dashboard, stuff that really just popped.
Definitely Andy Krill. I think it's incredible.
Jeffrey Schaefer's blog, he offers different ways of creating one visualization.
The song that comes to mind when I think of the Tableau user community is Blitzkrieg Bop.
A song that reminds me of Tableau Community is "We're all in this together."
In Your Arms by Elenium.
Some of the themes I had were going nonstop. Like there's always somebody in the community putting out more content, sharing more information.
So Metallica's Feel. I mean, it really is kind of a rock and roll culture within, kind of the Datafam.
Being a Tableau developer ambassador is hopefully an opportunity to give back what I was able to learn from the community.
I'm the first African Zen master. There's a responsibility on me, right, to help other people, right, to show them what is possible.
We all want to share ideas, get to know each other, and network more.
Once you really sort of start giving back, it sort of pays itself forward in tenfold.
The Tableau community is my second family.
Tableau Public has impacted me personally because it was why I created my own nonprofit organization called Millennials in Data. I wanted to give this same skill set to students who were in college who just have not heard of Tableau.
I mean, the Tableau community is everything. I don't think that I would have made this progress without being in the community and accessing the community.
Whenever I feel very demoralized or discouraged, I can just look to anyone within the communities.
That's what makes Tableau unique. That is the Tableau community.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that, Klaus. I think hopefully everyone's feeling inspired. I certainly am. And I've just added the link to my slides in the chat. I can see people going in there already. So the links are there. So feel free to go ahead and go and have a look at those blog posts that I shared and all the other things as well. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you for having me.
That was amazing, Sarah. Thank you for sharing this presentation. And I'm always blown away by what is around there and what's possible in the community. And like you said, I think we've all received a lot from the community, and it's also great to give back. And yeah, that's just amazing. And the video summed it up perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sarah, the chat went wild while you were talking. You couldn't see it, but it was just going crazy. They absolutely love what you were talking about, and most of it. And I know you'll really enjoy this. Most of it was, how do I get involved? Where do I go? What? And so yes, it absolutely hit the spot.
Yeah.
Hey,
Great.
Alyssa, why don't you come back online also? Klaus, I got a little email from a little message from Melissa. We are running a little long. You think we can put off the escape room till March, and we'll do that in March, and then finish up here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you, Alyssa?
Yep, that's great. We'll still give out a couple e-learning licenses. So I actually was shuffling everyone up in the background and selected 2 of our amazing attendees. Hopefully they're still on the call. If not, I'll just follow up with them afterwards. But it is Melissa Rad and Jeremy Walker. So thank you guys for joining. Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations. That's great. That's great. And thank you for doing that, Alyssa.
Of course.
Okay, good. Then we're almost at the end, right?
Yeah. Alyssa, do we have time to go out to Remo, or?
So it's completely optional. I will go ahead and hop in there if anyone wants to join. We'll leave it open for the next half hour or so. And yeah, completely optional. We have the link in the next slide, but really quickly, I know Jim mentioned earlier, we have our next meeting scheduled for March 10th. Go ahead and scan that QR code and you can go ahead and register. We're still finalizing our featured speaker, but we really hope you're able to join. And we've already gotten so many great recommendations for topics and ideas for future meetings. So I feel like we don't even have to ask, but if you have one and you didn't get a chance, drop that in the chat. We are collecting all of those and we'll be meeting up as a team to plan out the next year. So thank you for all of your ideas so far.
Okay, I personally have time available, and I will go out to Remo. If anybody wants to hook up out there, meet, chat, I will be out there, and we'll go from there.
Okay, this is the link. Just scan the QR code and see you in Remo.
Yep. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye. See you in March.
Yeah.